We are Milwaukee.
This is the place we love. I'm Carol Meekins.
And I'm Steve Shamraz. It's our job to bring you local news.
Even when that news is not good.
And while there are issues we all need to face,
we don't have to face them alone.
We know there are problems to solve.
But we'll solve them as a community.
Because we are Milwaukee.
Where we fight the good fight.
And where we don't shy away from the truth.
Today's TMJ4.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hey there, kids. I've been hearing that people are sad because I'm only doing one show a week. Trust me, you're not the only person that's missing my show right now. That's all I'm going to say about that one. No, I mean, obviously, of course, I can't be everywhere all the time, and I'm doing all sorts of exciting and wonderful things, which I'm very proud of. But, yeah, we still need to do our shows. Yeah, I'm totally on board for this today. I'm super excited, first of all, because anytime that I get to interview somebody who's remotely close to New York, I get excited. So that's awesome. Second of all, I get an opportunity to talk to you folks because I don't get to do that during the week when I get so ultimately crazy, nutsy busy. Just a heads up, a couple quick heads up before we start the interview. First of all, in case none of you have heard, I'm back in New York City this coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Time is limited, but yes, I can probably squeeze some people in on Saturday and Sunday. Scouting locations, obviously meetings, the whole 9 yards. Want to remind everybody, I'm down to the final 2 people to cast for my film, 100 Looks of Love, so I probably could use 1 more in New York City and probably 2 more in Wisconsin, 1 male, 1 female. So if you happen to know anybody, union or non-union, please go ahead and forward them my direction. Anywhere from age 25 to 55 is perfectly suitable. You can email me at cin4251@gmail.com. In case some of you might have forgotten, I am doing another film festival this year. Yes, I know. I should be medicated. I'm not. Anyways, yes, we did our New York City Art is Alive Film Festival, and now, of course, I am headed to Los Angeles. The weekend of November 9th, it's being held that weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9th through the 11th. Still accepting submissions up until October 8th. I am looking for shorts and features that are up to 90 minutes long. I'm looking for TV pilots that are up to 60 minutes long, and I'm also looking for music videos up to 10 minutes. Same flat fee, $20 across the board because it's affordable, and I know you guys go broke submitting to all these. So please, artisalive.filmfestival.yolasite.com. Otherwise, go to Film Freeway and visit Art is Alive Film Festival Los Angeles, not to be confused with my New York festival. So please, please, please go ahead and support. Go ahead and submit. Go ahead and volunteer because God knows I'm always in need of volunteers. Also, and lastly, before we start our interview, if anybody is interested in pitching material, advertising, or otherwise as it relates to my television network that is launching, which is Sin TV in December, please go ahead and either approach me on Facebook, social media, which is Cindy, the last name is Mich. Otherwise, go to direct email, cin4251@gmail.com. And, of course, you can go to the Sin TV, that's CIN TV, on Facebook and send me a message through there. In case you guys don't know what I'm looking for, we're taking pitches for episodic television, short films, feature films, documentaries. We're looking for talk shows. We're looking for soap operas would be lovely, children's programming. And I'm also going to be having a section this year as far as food and beverage and spirits and events and things like that. Basically, I want everybody who is watching, which is a universal audience, to be able to step in and say, hey, I want to go check out this product. I want to buy this. I want to do this. I want to do that. So please make it a point. Even if you think it's a relatively silly idea, pitch me. I'm pretty easy when it comes to creative material, which is the whole reason why we're doing this network. So again, CIN4251@gmail.com. That's the way to reach me directly. And like I said, that's going to be launching in December, Sin TV. So without further ado, you do not want to listen to me anymore. You want to listen to these wonderful people at Mary's Place by the Sea. So let's start our interview. Hi there.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear both. Well, I hear one of you. Are you both there?
Yeah, hi, Cindy. Yes, I'm here too.
Hi. Okay, good. So I can hear you both. Okay, so just so you folks know, both Michelle and Maria are on the line right now. Obviously, of course, we're speaking with Mary's Place by the Sea. I have tons of questions, as a matter of fact. But let's kind of start off with the most recent thing, because I know on the 22nd you had your 7th Walkathon Part 2, and someone very dear to me actually participated in your walk this weekend. I was so super excited. I'm like, oh, my God, she's going to Mary's Place by the Sea for their walk. So tell the folks a bit about the walk itself, how it went, how was the participation, what was the end result?
Awesome. This is Michelle, by the way. So our walkathon this year, as you know, is normally in May. We like to do it around Mother's Day typically, but the weather just didn't cooperate this year, so we decided to move it into September, and it was the right choice. We had a beautiful day. We were attended by 1,200 participants, and which is the most ever for us. And that's amazing because it's the one day of the year that we are able to see the impact that we've made in the community over the past 9 years with women who have come through, either diagnosed with cancer or their families, the ones who want to honor their legacy of former guests of ours who have now passed on. And it's just such a beautiful event, filled with emotion, filled with love. And we raised $188,000, which is amazing for us to be able to continue to offer all of our programs free for all the women who stay here.
Oh, my gosh, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Holy man, that's awesome. I'm glad the weather fared for you, too. I saw a couple of the pictures, and I was like, I could just see it was just a raging success. That is absolutely awesome. So huge congratulations, because I know how much work it goes into doing any kind of event, and obviously you have to have all the wheels and the ducks lining in a row. So that's a true testament to the both of you. So first off, congratulations on that, obviously.
Thank you.
Second of all, I wanted to ask about I don't want to get too much into this till the very end of the interview, but I know I was apprised of the fact that you are having another event coming up, which is December 7th, your holiday show. Are there particular details, meaning that typically, is it your norm to have maybe a spring event and then a fall event and then a winter event, or how do you normally handle your events? I'm just curious.
Well, with our events, this is Maria, we generally have two of our events, whether it's a bash honoring those that have helped support us in terms of the community, and whether it's a doctor, and that was considered our bash, and then our walk. So those are the two largest fundraisers. And then we have, of course, third-party fundraisers, such as this one that you're talking about with the Quincy Mumford. That would be the 7th annual, and he is an amazing musician in the community. And in that evening, we bring gift auctions, and it's a gathering again right before Christmas, and giving back and supporting the mission by everyone coming out and having a great time, enjoying each other and supporting us as we move forward in the mission. And that generally will be a music orchestrated by Quincy and all of his expertise in the area of musicians that he wants to bring on board. And it's a fun evening, and that will be at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park.
Nice, very nice. In fact, now that you brought him up, it's a great segue into the question, because I was going to bring Quincy up. To those of you that are listening and that don't know, Quincy Mumford put together a single called Thank You, which is obviously relative to Mary's Place by the Sea. So if you would, because our listening audience as well as myself are really not acquainted too much to Quincy, so please tell us how you merged that partnership, and tell us a bit about Quincy and how he ended up putting together the song Thank You.
Well, Quincy has been a part of our lives for a few years now in an integral way, where when he first had launched his nonprofit and started the holiday show, I think we were in about the second or third year of his holiday show, he reached out to us and said, we'd like to do this and have the proceeds benefit Mary's Place. And we met him and fell in love with him. His family, his father and mother, have been an integral part of our food program here, as they are organic chefs. And then we met his wife, and she is from Sweden and a beautiful soul. And she came on board with us as our house manager shortly after we moved into our new home, where we've been here for 2 years. So now she's from Sweden, so we're her American family. And we've grown with them. When Malin received her citizenship for the United States, we all got together and celebrated that moment with her. And I feel that it's just been a natural, organic relationship that's grown. And then when Quincy auditioned for The Voice, we were, of course, kept in the dark of that for quite some time. But then once we learned about his audition and everything, we've just been supporting him as much as we can, because he does understand what our mission is and how we're touching women at a very soulful level through mostly from his wife being here and her managing the house with the guests on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I saw this post and I said to myself, oh my God, how neat is this? That was just so touching and so moving. And he looks like a very humble, humane individual. Unfortunately, I've never met him. I never even heard of him actually until you guys had actually posted that up, of course. And I did also see, I clicked on the site. So for those that are listening in, if they want to listen to that single, is it also, I was having trouble finding it on your website. I know it directs to somewhere else, but can they listen to it direct off of your website, or they just go to QuincyMumford.com?
Yes, I would say that they should go to QuincyMumford.com, and the relationship, like with Mary's Place, it's nice to see how the community comes around and really supports us. But it started with that connection, and it's been an integral part in how we've grown the mission over the years because of that connection, that sisterhood we have with our guests, and then also those people that have passed on. It's the husband, it's the Quincy. He gets the mission in the sense that his wife comes home every night sharing stories about our guests. And it does change your life. Cancer is an equalizer, and it touches your heart, touches your soul, and I think that this mission really creates that desire to do good in the world when there's so much out there that's in negativity, but it's not here. It's really facing your own mortality in a positive way, because you have an opportunity to make a difference each day.
You bet, absolutely. Sure, and I was sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that you offer that are just, oftentimes you look at different facilities, and there are tons of people that are out there, and I love the take that the spin that you've put on this is so nice, and there's such a feeling of calmness and serenity and peace when I look at the rooms, when I look at some of the services that we're going to get into and talk about today. It's just such a place of you can't not feel comfortable, you can't not feel loved, you can't not feel supported in the surroundings that you're offering, which I find, again, is super impressive. Now, I know that you're located in Ocean Grove, New Jersey, which is an awesome place, of course. So I want to start off by talking about the basics. When you first started off, was it always your intention? Did you always know that the facility would be strictly for women versus doing a co-ed facility?
Yes, we knew that we needed to serve women predominantly because it was, for me personally, I was homesick with a short-term illness, and I had 3 small kids poking me, saying, are you better? Can you get up? And I said to my husband, I wonder what a woman does when she has a long-term illness like cancer. No one is giving her permission, and most importantly, she's not giving herself permission to put a moment aside and just say, let me just take this moment for myself. Let me catch my breath. Let me gain a new perspective. Let me think. Let me breathe. Give me some space. And as you know, we don't do that at home because we have so many tasks that need to be completed. If you're working outside of the home, you add that onto your plate, and then all the people you're taking care of. So I felt like this nudge, like how can the body actually go into a healing mode if we're not paying attention to it at all, and we're making it the last thing on the priority list. So we knew that we didn't want to mix the genders because that changes the whole dynamic. So all of our volunteers are women. The house is for women, and it is quite a sisterhood here. The women can feel comfortable to take off their wigs. They release the scarves. They let their heads breathe. They walk around very comfortable, and we keep the traffic to a minimum so that they can have that sanctuary feeling while they're here, and it's very safe for them.
Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, because I was curious about that. I thought to myself, well, that's a little different because you are female specified, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, obviously. And I would presume that you accept patients of all different forms of cancer. And more importantly, I also noticed the fact that you can fit up to 9 overnight guests, which is nice because when you first started off in 2009, I had read where it said you started off by just renting 2 rooms and a bed and breakfast. Now all of a sudden you're at a point where you're at a new facility and you can fit 9 overnight guests. So is this kind of like your tier, meaning that when you first looked at all this in the big picture, you're like, okay, we're going to start off here, and within 5 years we'll be here, and then eventually up here. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we didn't know if actually the mission would take off, and then resounding it did. And we had so many guests and didn't have the room for them to live and stay. At that point, when we first started at Seven Ocean, a B&B, then we went to a single-family home, and that wasn't. That was 4 bedrooms, and at that point, we didn't have in that home wheelchair accessibility. There were many steps.
Sure.
There wasn't enough area for massages and those services that we were requesting, and so we organically grew the mission. But we knew that when it took off and that many women needing to serve, we needed those things in place. And our board came to us and said, look, you've sustained this in 5 years. I think you guys can have wings to grow. And that's when we put our heads together and built this beautiful 10-bedroom home. Michelle's husband, Paul Gannon, built this house out of love, and we were able to really serve that many more women. And it's been amazing to see not only those 9 that overnight, but day stay people that come during those times. And it is life transforming for all people, from the volunteers to the practitioners and to those women from all over the country, from 18 to 80, and from literally all over the country, from Tacoma, Washington, California. And because we're the destination, we're the place that is not available and affordable because we're free, and all they need to do is give us a guest questionnaire, and they get a conversation with us about this mission. So they feel from the get-go comfortable and safe to even come through the doors.
Oh, nice. Now, when an individual comes and they show up, a couple of different things I want to address. First of all, because, of course, you have an all-volunteer base at your facility, I'm going to assume that each and every volunteer has to be relatively versed in terms of, because do you know ahead of time? Like, say, for instance, you have a woman coming in and she has breast cancer versus another woman coming in and she has a different form of cancer. So are you always versed? You already know what type they have? And then not only that, how knowledgeable or how proficient do your volunteers need to be in terms of the illness itself? How prepared, or what sort of training goes into actually being a part of Mary's Place?
Well, that's a great question. So what we have done is we do provide ongoing training and support in the psychology field, really, for our volunteers. We have right now 125 active volunteers, but we also have a staff of 9 of us. We are actually a non-medical facility, and we really like to stress that to our guests. So if a guest is at the stage of her cancer where she needs a caregiver, that caregiver comes with her so that she can remain safe and well cared for throughout her stay.
Sure.
However, what we found is, and when Maria and I first started, neither one of us came from a medical background, so we thought, I wonder if we do have the skill set to be able to support these women. But what we really found was our niche was being present, was being a listening ear, was allowing the women space enough to be able to continually process through their thoughts, provide the services that help them open up through massage and Reiki and meditation, and then be able to support them once they've opened up all of those emotional pathways. Now we have the staff in place. We have the supportive counseling and women in place, and they may be clinical social workers, or to be able to guide our guests through that in a responsible way. So with the volunteers themselves, many of them are helping put the lunch on the table, clear the dishes. They're sitting and chatting with the guests without looking at their phones. They have a cup of tea with them. They're sharing stories. And you see this thread of just kind of a relaxation where they've taken all the outside world out. And now it's just that eye-to-eye contact and that heart-to-heart contact. And that's just being human, really. And we watch it grow exponentially each and every day here.
Right, and the beauty also of Mary's Place is that we have attracted those survivors, those thrivers, and those practitioners that get the mission and understand cancer maybe from their own experience. And they are all licensed professionals in the field if they are working with the guests, or we have nurses that have retired and decided, gosh, I love this, and they're there. And it's really been amazing if we have had an issue, whether it was a guest feeling lightheaded, who's there on our staff for that day for the volunteer, but a nurse. So I feel like we've always had that support from, I believe, God in this mission that has put those people on our path to help us carry on in the best way possible.
Oh, sure. And if I understand you correctly, and this is more so, of course, for the audience, so they get that, especially if they're listening, and then this becomes intriguing to them. So there's two things right off the bat. First of all, I know that you do not do med distribution, so I presume that when people show up, obviously they're bringing their medications, they're responsible for that, or their assistant or whomever they might bring with, or someone is responsible for that.
Correct.
And then I know you've spoken about having doctor clearance that's necessary. So let's say, for instance, someone's listening today, and they have a loved one, and they're like, they want to bring them here. So in terms of what they need from an actual physician to get clearance to stay at your facility, would be what specifically? Kind of take us through that process a little bit.
So we are reservation-based, just like a hotel would be. And so once we have made contact with a guest, or they've made contact with us, we know that they're coming. We have their guest questionnaire, which lets us know low-level information with them in terms of date of diagnosis, what type of cancer they have, where they're being treated, and a list of their meds. Then when we ask for a doctor's clearance when they are requesting an oncology massage or reflexology, any body work, because we want to be able to have the patient communicating with her doctor that she's actually seeking out all different holistic methods for relaxation, for her circulation, and that sort of thing. So we just want, especially if they've just recently been through surgery, if they've had lymph nodes removed, we want that conversation to take place with their medical team so that we know that they're kept safe and everything, that we're not putting them in any kind of danger with any body work through their body. So that's why we ask for the doctor's clearance. What's been interesting about it is for the first, I would say, up the first 5 years, we would have doctors' offices call us, usually the staff in place, and call us and say, what is oncology massage? What is reflexology? And that gave us the opportunity to have a conversation with them, educate them on Mary's Place, and educate them on our supportive services. Now, it's becoming more commonplace in the hospitals, which is an amazing thing. So we don't get that call that often anymore, but we do get the call from the social workers or the nurse practitioners saying, wow, our patient wants to come to you, so now we're learning about you. Tell us more. Can we come and visit? Can we have brochures? Nice. And it's just helping us spread the word of mouth.
That's awesome.
And truly our guests become that ambassador, because it's highly improbable that Michelle and I could go to every state, every doctor, but certainly they become the ambassador, share this information, so then we could serve more people in this world.
That's awesome. And to clarify, folks, because I think this is even neater too, it's not that they get housing just because they're in the middle of treatment. It's also before and after treatment. So I was curious about that, because I'm like, okay, when you talk about before their treatment, so does that mean they get diagnosed and there's XYZ amount of time and then they're allowed to come? How does that work specifically? Because you do it for after as well.
Yes. So as soon as a patient is diagnosed, then they can reach out to us. And we are seeing women here, they become our guests prior to their surgery, prior to their chemotherapy. They're overwhelmed. And so in that pre-treatment phase, this is when we can help them kind of build up their immune system with a vegan diet. We can give them the tools, the coping skills that they're going to need throughout their treatment. Once their treatment begins, we find through the experience of having been with over 9,000 women, that they go into what's called survival mode, which is what we do. Pretty much women do that all the time. So when they are in that survival mode, they're kind of carrying through, head down, driving through, and getting through their treatments. But this 1 year post-treatment, we have found is really a critical phase, because it's when the other shoe may drop. It's when our guests are no longer being seen by a medical team regularly, and they feel kind of lost. They've lost contact with a lot of their support group prior to diagnosis, and then they kind of want to separate themselves from their support group that they met while in treatment, because they want to move forward. But we're helping them now move forward in that new normal. So that 1 year post, I think, is very critical for self-care, for maintaining that space that you need inside of you to relax and know that you have permission to continue to care for yourself. And then to be able to link arms with other women on the same path is really something that's so supportive, and it's definitely making a difference.
Oh, and I imagine so. And one of the things that I envision in my head is I'm thinking, okay, well, they come in before, and then of course, do they have the option to come in before, spend a little time, and then of course come back while treatment, and then come back again after, meaning like through each phase?
Yes, they do. They can come in as, generally guests arrive either on a Tuesday and depart on a Thursday. Another group comes in on a Friday and departs on a Sunday. But we do have day stays in between on all those days as well. So yes, we become part of their treatment and one of their support systems. We have 2 active support groups, one for first newly diagnosed, and then the second group is for our resiliency group, and that is an 8-week course, and it is wonderful. And then we also have another class that we call coping strategies, and then we offer things like nutrition, education, art therapy, soul collage modalities. We also do yoga and meditation. So all of these things will help support them as guides for them to take home with them to enhance living, quite honestly, for all of us to do, to help in prevention of recurrences and just really keeping us as healthy as we can be as a whole.
Nice. Very, very nice. And of course, I did see the notation here. So when you have actual clients that are there, obviously your friends or family or other associated people that want to visit. So I see that you have it listed here. So we have Tuesday through Saturday, where they have hours in which they can come and they can visit, which is obviously helpful to the patient as well as I'm just thinking from a psychological standpoint and just having familiarity. Now, I know that, am I to assume that you're closed Sunday period, no day visits, nobody allowed to come in, et cetera? Because I didn't see any Sunday hours. That was a little confusing to me. So I just want to clarify that.
So on Sundays, our weekend guests who arrived on Fridays, they're checking out on Sundays. And so they're using that time as closure, and then they pretty much pack up and they're out by 12 o'clock. And then we're using that time to reset the bedrooms, strip all the beds, do all the laundry, and do a light clean for the big team that comes in on Monday to do the deep clean throughout the house. Yeah.
Okay, I've gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because if somebody's listening and they're thinking, can I come to this place, not come to this place, I totally understand. I get you. Now, let's talk, obviously, of course, before we get to the services, one of the things that I wanted to mention, obviously you're a beach community, so that in and of itself I would think would be therapeutic for a patient, because clearly, I mean, who doesn't love the beach and sitting there in that peaceful little backdrop we talked about. Plus, of course, I noticed that you have accentuated the different rooms with particular colors, certain elements that you put in there as far as that goes. Did you get any advice or any advisement from people in the field in terms of how that helps someone mentally? Because I imagine just the backdrop and the setting, too, is all part of that whole treatment process in some senses, or no?
Well, we just went from our what we like and what it's from our gut, from our heart, and what makes us feel calm and serene, and what makes and Ocean Grove is a Victorian town. So the architecture from the outside must be in that element. But internally, we wanted to be more of a beach community, light and airy with billowy curtains. And, we really had a vision of what makes you feel so relaxed and so calm. And that's typically when you go on vacation, because we know that the body can create those endorphins and those memories once you've had it in you, and so then to recreate that and have them walk away with it, it'll bring them back to that and strengthen their immune system once they've left here and when they mentally go back to that state. So that was, we have a very good friend who is a designer, and she helped us with calming colors and furniture and everything.
Nice. Very, very nice. Now, just out of curiosity, I knew the backstory as far as how you started the facility itself, but I was just curious to ask, of course, was there any other motivation, meaning have either of you had females that you know or love or friend or family members that had suffered from cancer, and that might have been one of the other factors in deciding to start a project like this?
Well, my cousin was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was in her 20s, and after she completed treatment was basically when I started thinking about this. And I reached out to her and I said, I have this idea and I don't know if it makes sense, but do you know if there's anything out there that resembles this? And she said, no,
Sure.
But it sounds absolutely amazing. And I said, is it someplace that you would go? And she said, I really believe that I would, because I found cancer to be so isolating. And really, when you're home, a lot of us love that feeling of being in a nest and just kind of hunkering down.
Sure.
But when it drags on month after month after month, then depression can set in, and the medicine, doesn't help at all. So it doesn't help that depression at all. So you wanted to be able to get out and to be with women on the same path who are also struggling with their immune systems and trying to keep everything safe and everyone healthy, and picking up these little tools that they can learn along the way. It seemed like it made sense. It's not, it's pretty simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. The whole concept of Mary's Place, it really, truly is.
Yeah, and I also
go ahead.
feel that being simple with that, the concept is helping supportive. And I've always felt that cancer is in us, and whether it manifests. And in fitness and health, when Michelle and I were moms at the same school, we actually met together at the gym and started kind of brainstorming this idea. And I always felt that health and wellness, if they're met with the medical, whatever choices a person does, that you're going to get through this. It may be a huge boulder in the road, but you're going to get through it. And we're giving tools in their toolbox for them to dig deep, sometimes really, really deep, and it might take a lot longer than they anticipate, but you can get through this. And we've seen that happen here because of when people have said to us, this is where my healing began. I thank you for starting something like this, because now I got a chance to look at my cancer for the first time and realize what a blessing it has been, because now I have a new way to be. I have new choices.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So,
That's amazing. All right. Well, let's talk about these services now. Now, just so you folks understand, these are to complement medical treatment, not take the place of it, obviously, of course. So you have medical treatment. These are some beautifully creative, complementary sorts of services you put together. And I know your recommendation is typically to do 3 services a day. There's a bunch of different ones, folks, from some of the more familiar ones that you've heard of, such as yoga or meditation or massage, counseling. I want to speak about some of the ones that are a little out of the norm. For one, reflexology, nutrition education, and guided imagery and expressive writing. Those are the 4 that kind of stood out to me. So when a patient comes in, is it typically a matter of you sit down with them, get a feel for who they are, and then curtail their services around them? Or is it normally where you just kind of hand them this list and say, all right, let's go through one by one and kind of decide together? Or do you just allow them their own freedom to be able to choose that?
It happens actually before they arrive. It happens once they check in with us and submit a guest questionnaire and say that they'd like to come. Then we pick up the phone and we call them. It's kind of amazing, and it's a testament to what really matters to people and makes a difference right now is communication. So to get a phone call from someone, first of all, their jaws drop on the floor, like, you're actually calling me. And then we have a conversation, and we do get to know them over the phone. And really, they'll check off on the list of the services that they are interested in. And then once when they arrive, they're given their schedule, because we do, since it's volunteer-based, a lot of the practitioners, and some of them we write for grants to be able to support them financially through their services. Those are well organized. And then we offer the group services on a whiteboard, and they're open to signing up for it while they're here and committing to it if they would like. It seems to be, we really are driven on faith, and we know that the right people show up at the right time, and the right schedule is out there for them. And we're watching, actually through sitting with so many women and talking to them in the early years, that's how Marie and I sat down and realized, like, these are the services that are not being done outside. And this is what will make a difference, because we didn't want to just replicate another program because it's a huge amount of sacrifice for all of those involved in the mission. So we said, if we're really going to do this, we need to be making a huge impact. So all of those services are well thought out. The timing of them is well thought out. In other words, from when a guest arrives to have her kind of decompress with an individual service, to then opening up to a group service by late afternoon on the first day. So now that you're engaging with the other guests so that you'll feel comfortable going out to dinner together that night, to then really going into like the soulful heart work the next day, and then tying it all together. And a lot of that is the expressive writing. It's not just journaling. It is a course that our instructor participated in at Duke University with very specific prompts for writing. And that session, although we schedule it for an hour, it typically goes about 2 hours, and it is a very emotional session where some women are writing things that they've never been willing to put on paper, and that's a way of processing through it. And then being there with a counselor to be able to give them a one-on-one session so they can kind of process through all of that.
Now, question relative to this. So let's say, for instance, because I know that people have talked about doing journaling and different forms of writing, etc. Now, on the flip side of the fence, when I'm looking at something like guided imagery, in a way, because I'm a writer, of course, everything that I do, I imagine in my head, and then I do that. So the purpose of guided imagery is what specifically, and what is involved with that, just so we can differentiate between the two here? Because to me they sound similar but different. Sort of.
Yeah, the guided imagery is, I think, a great tool. It's your session is generally in a massage room, on a massage bed. You're fully clothed, and the practitioner guide you on a journey to help support you, what your needs are, whether it's panic, it's anxiety, whether it is smoking sensation. So she's specifically trained from Hofstra University and has been in the field for 20-some years. And she gives them tools, and she gives them specific places to either maybe invest in, and different, YouTubes that she might use for them when they get home. So that's a tool that they never expected to have, and it's a wonderful service. And people are really blown away from that experience that want more.
Oh, you bet. Now, when you mentioned, of course, talking about the 3 services per day, for instance, do you recommend like something like a too physical one and more that's more mental? Do you know what I mean? So is there such a thing as a regimen, like, okay, today we're going to do 3 physicals and then tomorrow we're going to do this? Does that make sense?
Yes, we try to do one individual per day, and then there are group activities. So, for instance, if I'm coming today, I might have an individual massage and then be able to do meditation and nutrition today. So I have 3 services. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I might do yoga with the group, and then I might have counseling because I requested that individual service. And then Thursday, before I depart, I'm going to do journaling, guided imagery, or another service. Or maybe I'm just leaving because I've had enough. We've found that too much body work, meaning too much Reiki and massage in the same day with a person that's immune system is compromised, it's too much for the body to take on. So we want them to sit with that service. That's anything that's too massaging because you're moving the lymphatic system. And it needs the body to process. So, you need to hydrate after that and relax and let it do its work that it did instead of just go, just being, like Michelle said, human being.
You betcha. Now, on the side of nutrition education, this is curious because, of course, obviously I've heard a lot and I've read a lot of research relative, of course, to food as it relates to cancer, et cetera. So we've all probably heard something like that. So when they come in, meaning a particular patient comes in and they stay with you, I'm guessing that they've been pretty well versed on maybe all the various things that they should stay away from or that they should gravitate towards. So when they come and do something like nutrition education with you, what are you offering them, or what do you kind of cover through the course of that might be a little different from the medical side of things?
Well, first of all, I think we meet them where they are in terms of nutrition education. And it's really, we try to enhance the immune system. There's many different diets. We don't really want to say a diet. We want to say a lifestyle. And we have found over 8,000 women, not many have an understanding of their body. So this might be the first time that they've learned that you need more water, you need exercise and vitamin D. Maybe a possible plant-based diet is one of the best things, taking out packaged goods, no soda. So it's to try and educate them how to be more alkaline in your diet and how do you do that. It's very step-by-step and very simple, and taking out some of the things that aren't beneficial and adding more in. And it's one step at a time. I think they're often bombarded and in fear. So we try to just ease it up, take a deep breath, and know that you can do one thing good for you. And that's really showing them here with our plant-based nutrition, eating it and realizing, my goodness, this is delicious. My energy levels increase. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm not feeling as inflamed. Maybe I can move my fingers because my joints aren't so stiff. Hydrating with delicious water, just educating them one step.
That sounds wonderful. And not only that, and keep in mind, folks, and they've heard me say this oftentimes through the course of years, I've learned from my guests and other people and patients, obviously, you never really realize how nutrition and food itself can really play a part. I mean, I know there are tons of people that talk about toxins in food, and it's a medical and scientific fact, et cetera. So it's definitely a really, really pertinent, perfect detail to cover in the course of your offerings. That's awesome. Now, on the flip side of the fence, I want to talk a bit about, obviously, most people that are listening to my show, I have a nice base in New Jersey and New York City, but of course we have people from all 50 states listening. So for instance now, there's a couple of different ways, more than a couple of different ways that folks can help Mary's Place by the Sea. First of all, the fundraising recipe book, it's called In the Kitchen with Mary's Place by the Sea. Who came up with that? Was that recipes generated by yourselves, a bunch of people, cancer patients, et cetera? And then tell the folks a bit about what they can expect if they order something like that.
Well, the cookbook, we used it as kind of a guide because our guests were all asking for the recipes with the food that they were sitting and we were serving them on a day-to-day basis. So we found which ones they really loved. We have a vegan chef, and she pulls her resources from all over. So she may pull, find recipes that are vegan, or she might convert them to being vegan, and then she tweaks them ever so slightly so that it fits in our home. And we said, we looked around the table one day at a staff meeting and said, we should just put this together in a cookbook and then use it as a fundraiser. As you know, we have to continually be thinking of ideas to generate funds. But with that cookbook, it's also sort of like a snapshot into, I think, it's a beautiful book that shows you, we capture the essence of Mary's Place on a day-to-day basis. You see the women in our dining room. We ask all guests to eat in community, and so there are 10 seats around the table, so we may have to do 2 seatings a day at the height of our season at times. And you see laughter, and they're sharing stories, and they're coming from all walks of life. As Maria said, cancer is the great equalizer. No one, because they don't pay anything to be here, they're all in a level playing field, if you will. And so they're meeting women from all different demographics, socioeconomically speaking, and they gather at that table, and there's so much love in the room during and after a meal that we wanted to capture that in a book, and that's what we did.
And they're simple
very,
guys.
very
nice. They're simple, Cindy, and we wanted them to come home with something and to try something different. And it's been a great way for them to be introduced to vegan cooking.
And without a doubt, I assume that this is available year-round, so you keep it on the website. People can order it year-round, every year, et cetera, or meaning you haven't updated it, there's a new version, et cetera. I just want to direct folks in the right place.
Correct. There's one edition so far.
Gotcha. Wonderful. Okay. One of the other things that you mentioned outside of, and yes, folks, obviously they are a nonprofit organization, so I'm pretty sure if you want to hand them a check at any point in time, bring them cash, they're more than welcome to do the donations, straight donations. But there's also such a thing as third-party fundraising. So let's say somebody is listening today, they've been affected by cancer. They decide, okay, we want to go ahead and do something on a third-party fundraising sort of platform. What do they need to do to go about doing that? Do they just send you a note to the website, or do they have to fill out something, or how does that work specifically?
We just ask for them to reach out to us, and so we can have a conversation. Okay. And what we try to do where it's possible is we try to stop in at as many functions as we possibly can so that we can greet people, say hello. As you said, so many people are affected by cancer, and they want to do something to pay it forward or to make a difference. And there are countless nonprofit organizations out there. With Mary's Place, it's very tangible to see where your funding goes. You can come into the house for a tour, which we do on Mondays, and when we don't have guests in the house, and you can see what we're doing. You can look on our website if you're from across the country, and really see what this prototype is. And it's a bold statement for us to say that, but we do believe that we have a prototype for what the future of healthcare needs to be. It's something where you're taking the mind, body, and soul, and you're putting it together with the medicine, the choice of treatment, and you're treating a whole person. And it's something that we want to continue, not build a bigger house, but build more of them, because we want to keep them small, non-medical, non-clinical, so that everyone can really feel heard and feel individual when they're here and really cared for. And if you make it too big, you'll lose that. It'll become institutionalized. But we know we need to put these all over the place. So just by calling us, we're very accessible here at all times, and we'll have a conversation, and we'll talk about that fundraiser, and we will support any way possible and promote it on our website as well in our social channels.
That is awesome. I absolutely love that. And I would venture to guess, judging by, and I got a chance to, of course, creep all over your social media in every way possible, because that's what we journalists do. We literally dig into you till the day is long. You've had some amazing and creative out-of-the-box different events. They're just amazing to me. These folks literally have done just about everything there is, including there's an upcoming one. I love that there's the Loretta Winery Walk that's coming up on the 30th. That's awesome. They do some very creative, very out-of-the-ordinary sort of events and partner up with people all of the time. So let's say, for instance, there's an average business that's listening today, and they say, all right, well, for my next event, I want to give 20% to Mary's Place by the Sea. Again, they just call you up, have a conversation, et cetera. Do they do that online? Because sometimes I know you can fill that out and be like, okay, we'll just funnel it to you? Do they even need to tell you? Can they just do it and et cetera?
That would be fine too, but certainly an email so we can come support it would be lovely. And then when you mention companies, we've often had companies, just as pharmaceutical companies, Goldman Sachs come in and they did our community service day. And we educated our team of 15 on Mary's Place. They helped us in whatever capacity, whether it was weeding because there were some men, and they were also, turning over the rooms for the next group of guests that were arriving, maybe helping in the kitchen. So we offer that too to other companies to have them understand Mary's Place, and it's been a great relationship building opportunity.
Very, very cool. Okay, now one of the other things is of course, straight out volunteering. Now, I noticed that you have a plethora of different descriptions as it relates to what sort of volunteer capacity someone can come in. So if I were to ask you today in particular, because of course I know you probably always need volunteers, but at this moment, are there particular needs that you need filled sooner than later that people should know about?
We have learned through the years to be able to tap into the talents of anyone who reaches out to be a volunteer. So when we have our volunteers, when they fill out a form online, how can I help? It's on a drop down under the donate area, how can I help? Then we call and invite them in and get to know where their talents are. This came from a learning experience with us where we had someone come in, a volunteer many years ago, and she was helping us turn the rooms around and cleaning the rooms. And then after about a year of her servicing, being here twice a week, I was having trouble balancing the checkbook one day, and she said to me, "Oh, I'm an accountant." And I said, "Well, how did I not know that?" And so that was our aha moment. So when we find that the most incredible people come here for whatever reason, and it just takes a conversation of where the areas where your strengths are and how would you like to help, because it's a massive organization that we're doing each and every day, and there's so much work to be done, and it's all for the right reasons. So just whether they're helping, be with the guest one-on-one or helping us in the office, it's all very well received.
Right. It's also wonderful. Some of our volunteers, whether they're a doctor, they can come and do a support us in the sense that they come in and they do a talk with all of our guests in the evening. We have some specialists that come and they're physical therapists and they talk about lymphedema. So it's an additional education for the guests while they're here.
That is so awesome. Absolutely. So I guess the point here is, folks, if you're listening in, don't think that just because you don't have this particular quality or this particular this or that they don't want you, because obviously all of us work with volunteers at some point in time, and especially with your facility, I can't even imagine what that's like to do this on a day in and day out basis, 365 days a year, clearly. Obviously, I brought up that the Loretta Wine Walk is coming up on 9/30. I know in the past that you had, oh my gosh, so I'm guessing you probably met the Sarah McLaughlin. I want to talk about that because, of course, she had done her concert in support of your organization. So what was that experience like? That had to be amazing because I hear wonderful things about her all the time.
Well, she's amazing. Again, like everything at Mary's Place by the Sea, it happened organically. Her best friend is my neighbor in Ocean Grove, New Jersey, and one day she came walking by and said, "I work for Kite Pharmaceuticals. I have a good friend of mine that has done a concert for my company, and I think I could get her to do a concert for Mary's Place by the Sea." And my mouth dropped when she said the name Sarah McLaughlin, and I said, "Michelle, you'll never believe this." And so it took a year for us to get it started meeting, and it was amazing to meet her, have her come here to our facility to get to understand the mission, understand how hard it is for us to continually keep it free for our guests, and how important our mission is truly to us and all of those around us, and how much it elevated us to be national coverage. And I hope that we'll continue that relationship building with someone of her caliber. And if not, maybe next year doing it again. We would love it. So that's nothing.
That's That is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I love that. Not to mention the fact of all the people, like I mentioned, they do various things and people have various donations they give. And what a small world, because I had no idea that you guys have partnered up before with Hang On to Your Shorts Film Festival, because I know the founder. He's a friend of mine. And I was like, I had no idea that you guys had done that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy. Absolutely amazing person. Love that. That was amazing. I'm like, that is so cool. And I founded a film festival myself, and I'm like, if I do that again, I'm really going to start thinking about that, literally giving to nonprofits, because there's a way to be able to do that. That is really amazing. So awesome to hear. So, folks, meaning audience listening in, so listen to this. And all the time that they've been in existence, they have been featured in the following places in case you want to actually read about them, because I've read some of your articles. Conquer Magazine, Community Magazine, Thrive Global, Asbury Park Press, NewJerseyMom.com, New Jersey Monthly Magazine, Huffington Post, etc. So I imagine that's probably very humbling for you, because I'm hearing two women that literally have a heart cause here. It's a labor of love. And here you are being acknowledged and recognized, etc. I imagine, though, that the countless amounts of gratitude and just I can't even imagine what it's like to have a patient walk up to you and to thank you for the work you've done. So I imagine that's probably more gratifying to you than anything else. I imagine that you've probably gotten countless numbers of thank yous, and that legitimately is the thing for you. How wonderful is that?
It is the thing for us. That's exactly what inspires us and motivates us each and every day to continue this mission and make it better and stronger, and spread it, because it is making an impact, and we feel like it's a ripple effect. And just to have someone say to you, this is where my healing began. You know, what I say to our team is, it's a job well done, ladies. I mean, we really are changing lives, and it keeps us very grounded, because we're surrounded by the most courageous women you'll ever meet each and every day. And to look in their eyes and see their fear, see their unknowing, you know, have them tell you about their young children and know the fear that's with them. And all you want to do is just make it better and take it away. And to have a woman come to you and say, I'm broken, it should be a natural response to just link with them and help them bring the pieces back together. So I always say I feel that we get more than we give just being here. I mean, we felt a calling and we answered the calling, and it has abundantly blessed our lives as well, and it has changed our lives personally and professionally. And we don't take that for granted. Please know that. It's each and every day a day of gratitude just to be a part of this.
Oh, how lovely.
I agree.
How sweet is that? My God.
And I also,
goodness.
Yeah, you know, and Cindy, it's nice because now, you know, because of us starting this, other people are involved, and they get to feel the passion, they get to feel the goodness of what it is to give, you know, and how can we help and support our moms, our sisters, our wives better. And if they, with integrity, with respect, and to be elevated and not be considered a statistic is
of course,
remarkable.
Absolutely.
It's
amazing.
It's very
and
humbling
of course,
when you have,
I have to ask this
humbling
question
when
because I saved the best question for last, because I'm like, I have to ask this question. So because, of course, you have Mary's Place by the Sea, I am curious, as I'm sure my listeners are, so do these women have, like, day jobs? Because I'm like, I don't even know how you have a life outside of this. I'm just curious. I'm like, what do they do when they're not there?
We both do work other jobs because it is a nonprofit, and we both have, Maria has 4 children, I have 3 children, and with that comes a lot of financial burden. So yes, we do, our priorities really have always been Mary's Place for the past 9 years, and it kind of takes the fatigue away. Like, I just feel energized by it, and to be surrounded, you know, even at the walkathon, and be surrounded by 1,200 people and just so energized, and then left there and went to my next job. It was, it carried me through for the next shift. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I believe that.
And you know,
definitely.
Cindy, it's great. It's great. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I feel that Michelle and I, as women business owners, I think we're changing the way business is being cultivated in this world. We're surrounded by women, but we're also women that are not allowing, like goodness prevails. There's no mean girls. We're sharing and caring and uplifting and supporting each other each and every day, and learning that we may have, we have a lot of gifts, and then maybe we have some warts that we don't want to see, but you can show us, because we love you through it, and we're just going to be together in this team called Mary's Place by the Sea.
Oh, how sweet is that, you guys, right? That's awesome. Okay, now, can you believe we've been on the air an hour? I don't know what it is. Every time I do a show, people are like, can you believe it's been an hour already? I'm like, it goes by so fast, doesn't it? It's like nuts. We just started like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, how amazing. There are some business things we have to do before I let you lovely young ladies go. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and read off all the various places where folks can find Mary's Place by the Sea. If I've missed anything, please be sure to let me know. The name of their website, marysplacebythesea.org. They are on social media, meaning Facebook, same name, Mary's Place by the Sea, as well as Instagram. Their Twitter handle is @MarysPlace, and that's OG. And, of course, as we referenced earlier, the name of the gentleman, the musician, is Quincy Mumford. That's MUMFORD. The website, QuincyMumford.com. The single itself is called Thank You, of course, and obviously he'll be participating in that December 7th holiday show that they were speaking about in Asbury Park. Lady's name's Michelle. It's Michele. Last name Gannon, Gannon. I can't talk today. And Maria McKeon. That's McKeon. Both of which are founders of Mary's Place by the Sea in New Jersey. Have I missed any place where people can find you?
No, you've done a great job, and it has been a pleasure speaking with you. I feel like we're old friends.
I was just going to say, we're not quite done. Just a couple of quick things. First of all, just so you folks know, and my listeners know this, about 2 hours, of course, after the show gets done, it becomes an archived episode on Blog Talk Radio. So what I'll do is I'll send you the link so you can put it onto your website, because, yes, folks, they do have a bunch of different interviews you can check out there, meaning radio and otherwise, that you can listen to or you can take a read. So you'll have that link. I also upload all of my episodes to YouTube, so you can go ahead and put that on YouTube channel. I was going to mention that. Did I just miss a YouTube channel? Is that something you're putting together, or you don't have that?
I actually have no idea. I think we have tons of YouTubes out there, our flash mobs and our videos, our promotional videos.
Okay.
I think our media team has put them all on YouTube. And to the extent of my knowledge, that's what I know about that.
Okay, and I'll double check that. I just don't want to be out of place and say, hey, it's not there, and I'll look into that, of course. Okay, so you've never been on my show before, so there's always two things that I do, one of which is to surprise you. We always have surprises on my show, and I'm sure you didn't know that, but you're about to get surprised in 30 seconds or so.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's the last part of my show, and I do that because I can, because I'm blessed, and most of the time when guests come on, you probably have no idea what I do for a living. Obviously, you know I'm a radio show host, but that's really not the extent of what I do. So that's where the surprise element comes in, because like yourself, the surprises and the way that I end my show is really my labor of love, and it's the only thing that's non-scripted about my show. I research everybody. I write my own show. I write my own questions. I book everybody, and you know, my feeling has always been if someone devotes a good portion of their heart and their handiwork to someone, to the benefit of many, many someones in this case, they deserve a little something for themselves. So on that note, there's just a few things I wish to say before we wrap up. The first of which is I'm sure I speak for legions and legions of friends, and although my current friends right now as we speak are both males who are suffering from cancer right now and in treatment, there is someone very special to me who survived breast cancer treatment. And so for the many, many, many that you meet, that you shake hands with, that you house, that you release, that you treat, I am certain that I'm saying and representing all of them. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for every moment, every dollar, every place, every life, and every heart that you touch. First of all, I think you probably don't hear that enough. So from an average stranger looking in, I'd say that you're incredibly inspiring and amazingly, amazingly impressive for your efforts. That's number one. Number two, I'm a big believer, and yes, people pick on me all the time. I'm very nostalgic. I believe the universe brings you what you need when you need it. So you did not know that today, but your comment about I am infamous, and my listeners know this, I don't take care of my health, and my health has been breaking down through the course of months. And it's always been my last priority. So how ironic that I'm interviewing Mary's Place by the Sea when tomorrow I am going for a biopsy myself. So my hope is that either you're a sign that either it's coming and, well, I will be a patient, or hopefully you're just a pleasant, wonderful visit to my show. Either way, you have been a very pleasant, wonderful visit. So I just find it very ironic that here you are. So thank you for the reminder that me is a very big priority. Last of all, and best of all, surprises. So the two surprises that I had, I thought to myself, what can I do for the girls at Mary's Place by the Sea? So number one, I am a professional journalist / author / whatever. So one of the ideas that I came up with, if you're open to it at some point in time, and if I ever slow down for 5 minutes, was, I know, of course, when we had started talking about the expressive writing, I'm not sure that any of your patients have thought about this, but one of the things I do is I'm a filmmaker, and I run a film festival. And I have always suggested to those in illness not only to write, but to tell their story. And the best way to tell a story is to write a screenplay or write a story about yourself, and that's your legacy, you in any form, whether it's in writing, whether it's on film, whatever have you. So if you're ever down the road saying to yourself, we want to have some volunteer come in and talk to people about how to write a screenplay or how to immortalize themselves or something along those lines, sign me up 150%. I love to teach. I've taught in the public and private sector, and I'm like, well, if they're ever looking for somebody different or just a little kooky, feel free to ring my bell, and I'll come running out there. The second one is thank you. I have the very good fortune of some of my dear friends who happen to be on episodic television. In this particular case, some of the Real Housewives of New Jersey are friends of mine. And so I got to thinking to myself, what better thing could I do except say to them, well, I know I'm not emailing you and I'm not writing you a note, but I'm physically saying online, on air, that if you'd like, I could certainly speak to them. We could probably throw a nice little fundraiser together for your benefit. And then, you know, people tend to flock when the Jersey Housewives show up, so you get you a nice full house and a nice another big paycheck if that's something you're interested in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That would be amazing.
Yes.
Well, it's the least I can do, for God's sake. I mean, an interview is just an interview. I mean, and it's not just an interview to minimize anything whatsoever. But if I can do something as easy as make a phone call and speak to someone and get them to make an appearance, of course I'll do that. So, ladies, it really, truly has been a pleasure. I hope that I have not disappointed, and I hope I've done you justice. And if I have, I'm quite satisfied.
You absolutely have. We thank you so much for your time and for thinking of us. And we know that your listeners out there will help us just move this mission forward. And together we can all make a difference.
Exactly.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. Definitely.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both, Marie and Michelle. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to wrap this up. You guys, I will be in touch very soon and send you all that information.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cindy.
All right, ladies, have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Again, that was Michelle Gannon and Maria McKeon of Mary's Place by the Sea. Again, the website is marysplacebythesea.org. They are on social media, both Facebook and Instagram is Mary's Place by the Sea, and the Twitter handle is at Mary's Place OG. And, of course, again, the name of the single created by musician Quincy Mumford is Thank You, and that is going to be part of their holiday show taking place on December 7th. And, of course, if you're in the New Jersey area on September 30th, please get over to the Laurita Winery Walk, and that's LAURITA winery.walk. My big thanks again to Michelle and Maria for coming on. Cannot forget to mention Karen. I'm sorry right now if I'm slaughtering your name. It's Begun, B-E-G-U-N. Sorry if I'm not saying it right. Please, folks, Green Room Communications. If it was not for Karen, I would not have been able to meet both of these beautiful young ladies and be able to talk to them today. So, Karen, from me to you, you're a one-class act. If I can ever do anything for you in the future, please let me know. To my listening audience, as always, thanks so much for listening in. Yes, to the best of my knowledge, I will be having a show tomorrow morning, but don't ask me who it is right now because I don't know. Check the Sin Chat Corner page, my social media page, or my Twitter or my Instagram, and I will post that up later today. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.
when it's really good. It's like the first time all over again. The performing arts are crazy like that. Whether it's your first time or you just wanted to feel that way, mkearts.com can take you there. The United Performing Arts Fund invites you to experience a night to remember.
On Facebook Marketplace, you can shop for everything from strollers to lawnmowers to video game controllers. You can buy a briefcase from Faith, sell a basketball to Paul, or buy a record player from a neighbor named Taylor. See, there's a face in a book, and a market and a place where we can search and connect face to face. Facebook Marketplace. Buy and sell together.